Going down. It's DJ Ash Noble here. Welcome back to another stream. Today we're doing the Corevibez aftermath. So if you don't know, if you've not watched any previous streams, I was booked for an event in Leicester yesterday, the Corevibez Summer Sounds, and this is the aftermath where I'm going to tell you all about what went down and just how my experience of the event stroke the weekend has been, which it's been a really positive weekend actually, and I've really enjoyed myself. So join me as I have this cup of coffee. Yeah, coffee. I don't know if have I ever had coffee on a stream before. I know, like, I quite often have a cup of tea. I do tea, but I do like coffee, but I don't have coffee like that often. Like, I prefer tea over coffee, but sometimes I'll just get the urge to have a coffee. Sometimes at work I'll have a coffee for a change. Sometimes at home I'll just think, you know what, I'm going to have a coffee this time. And I had a cup of tea on the train coming back. I got one from one of the stations, and I just thought, you know what, this time I actually fancy a coffee. I don't like them too strong, but I don't like them too weak either. But someone who I work with at work called Jed, he can like just literally drink coffee like real strong and straight, like with no, like he'll put no sugar in, he'll put no milk, he'll just literally put hot water and coffee into a cup, and he'll just literally drink it. I can't do that. That's just too much for me. Has to be a little bit weaker than that. Jeez. So the Corevibez Summer Sounds was an absolutely amazing event. It was so enjoyable, and it was just a really fun time. The one thing I really liked about this event was just like the amount of fun that not just I had, but the amount of fun that we just all had, and it was almost just like just getting together and having a real good time, and that is just essentially what it was. And you know, the just the vibe was just really like positive. It was just really enjoyable. It was just really fun. It was just really it was just really it was just a really exciting, really good vibe. Give us a shout out to me. Big shout to Chris. Big shout to Amelia. Big shout to you. So yeah, like I said, the vibe was just such a really fun vibe. So yesterday morning was not so much of a good vibe because believe it or not, I had a little bit of issues going on. I had some mega issues going on. So yesterday morning, I'd woke up and I was sort of like getting ready to set off because I had a pretty long train journey, and it sort of just came to me, and it sort of just sort of like I guess the word is more like come to my attention that I hadn't sorted a backup USB stick out take to the event. So I always like to take a backup USB stick because you could, when you go into an event, you can run into one of many problems. So the first issue that you can run into is the decks, the CDJs are not actually linked. So if you don't know what that means, if you've not played on like modern CDJs and equipment, essentially the CDJs you can plug like a Ethernet cable into the back of the CDJ, and it will go from one CDJ to the other. And essentially, you can plug a USB stick into one CDJ, but you can link it so the other CDJ will display that USB stick without having to put two USB sticks in. So sometimes you can go to clubs, and if the clubs, for whatever reason, sometimes that, you know, the links can be broken, or sometimes they don't have links, or for whatever reason they're not always guaranteed to be working. So if you have like a backup stick and you do have to put one in each CDJ, then you can obviously you can do that. If you're playing on like an RX, then you know the RXs they just automatically link them anyway, so you don't have to worry about that. But the second thing is that you can always have issues with USB sticks where they just won't, for whatever reason, they won't read, or they won't work, or they won't show up the music, and you could just run into like a whole ton of bother. So if you have a spare USB stick with you and you do run into that issue where the stick's not loading for whatever reason, you can plug another one in, and at least you've got that backup option. So yesterday morning, I realised that I hadn't sorted a backup stick out, and I knew that I was going to a nightclub where there isn't always guaranteed to be decks that link. Sometimes, and I played there once before, and the link was broken. It wasn't working at first, and then we had to like. I was late, like starting a set because I just went to swap a cable around and stuff. So I thought, you know, I better have one just in case, because you know you never know. You know you could have that issue where the you know the deck won't link for whatever reason, or you need to use two sticks. So I had a bit of time, so I fired up the PC, put the USB stick in to find out that it was corrupted. And I'd taken the USB stick to my studio, my work studio, on Thursday, because I'd taken some audio files to the studio from home to put onto the Mac. So when I plugged it into the Mac, it's obviously corrupted the stick. So I plugged the stick into the PC, and it corrupted my main stick, which is the stick that I use for taking to gigs. So the main stick had now actually corrupted. So that was a big stress within itself. You know, everything's just corrupted on the day of a gig, and you know, and I'm like literally leaving in a, you know, I'm leaving on a train in literally a couple of hours. So I have to reformat the stick, the main stick that I use for gigging, and I reformatted it and wiped the stick, and then I had to like reanalyze folders onto the stick again, and some of the other folders that I was analyzing onto the stick came from the original corrupted stick. So there was like certain files that I couldn't analyze because Rekordbox wouldn't read the tracks. So I think I've actually lost some music, which is it's actually quite annoying. So I finally sorted it out anyway, and I thought, well, I've got to, you know, make sure I've got enough tunes for obviously playing the set, you know, in the club that night, and then I sorted that out, and then I tried to sort out the backup stick, and I thought I haven't got much time, but I'll have a go, and if I can at least put something on, if something goes wrong, I do at least have a backup stick, and for whatever reason. I put the stick in, and I just kept getting this like error corruption message, and it came up like loads of times. I tried to drag some files, and I think like every file that I tried to drag, it brought that message up, and I'd like tried to drag like maybe like I don't know, maybe like 100+ files or something, and then I think it just like displayed that message like over 100+ times. So I was like trying to click the cross on it loads of times, and then it just froze the PC to the point where I couldn't even like turn the PC off. You know, like you couldn't click log off or shut down because it was just obviously the message was blocking me from being able to do that, because you know you had to clear the message first, but the PC had just gone into this like really weird like freeze mode. So that was a little bit gutting. So in the end, time was just, you know, we was just running thick on time, and you know, I didn't have time to really go about and sort it. So I just had to, in the end, do the thing that I don't like doing, and just take one stick, and that was kind of the gutting thing, that I just had to take the one stick that I had, that I'd managed to sort out, and just sort of like hope for the best, hope that they're linked, etc., and that everything works and goes smoothly. So I set off for the train anyway. That all leaves on time, but I'm a little bit stressed. I'm a little bit flustered up because, like the night before, I kind of like thought I was like ready, and I thought like, you know what, like I thought I'd like sorted everything, and I thought obviously that, like my bag was all packed, and like the music bag and everything was just all ready, and I just thought, get up in the morning, don't even have to put any of the computers on, and can just get up, sort of get ready, chill out, and then just set off without having to sort of like start worrying about moving files and stuff. And then which, yeah, I was right, to try and make that backup stick, because you do need them, and there's no worse feeling than a stick going down or not working on the night of your set, and it's the only stick you've got. So that was all, it's a pain. But I had to leave with one anyway. So like I say, the train set off on time. I was a little bit flustered up, and I was in contact with a friend of mine called Richard Hill, and he's a DJ himself, and I've not seen him for a good couple of years. We've done a couple of events. We did a couple of events together a couple of years ago. I emceed for him once, and I just happened to speak to him a couple of weeks back and said, "Oh, look, I'm coming up to Leicester in a couple of weeks," and he said, "Oh, I'll grab you. I'll grab you from the station, and have a little jam at mine, and all the rest of it." So the day came, and there was like a parade thing on in Leicester. So he said, if I get off at Loughborough, which is the stop before, he'll grab me from there. So he grabbed me from there. It was starting to rain just a little bit, and he grabbed me from there. We went to the nearest boozer, and I just had a coke. He got me a coke. Well, he got me a couple of cokes actually, and we just had a little bit of a sit down and a catch up, like, general chat over a drink with your mates, like you do. And then he took me to check in to the little guest house. So I stayed at a little guest house called Glenfield, and it wasn't the most horrible place that I've ever stayed at, but it was by no means the best place that I'd stayed at. Now, to be honest, I wasn't really at the guest house. I wasn't really there all that long to really like properly tell you like what it was like. It was like, I because I was with my friend, I only just sort of went there and checked in, and sort of like just dumped my bag of, like with my clothes and stuff in, and just sort of more or less, just had a quick look at the room, and then just got a change of clothes and freshened up, and went back out more or less. In that sense. So it wasn't really in too much sense like I got to like put the TV on, and really got chance to have a look at the room, and try all the lights and the plug sockets out. Although I did notice there was one switch that didn't do anything. You switched it and it didn't do anything. The room, it was something like 40 quid, which I didn't begrudge it. I suppose really like you do pay for what you get, but just to get your head down for one night, while you're coming, to a rave, or when you're doing an event, it's not as if I was having to stay there for a week or anything like that. Just for one night to come in at like 5 a.m. and get your head down, and then come out of there like at sort of like 10, 11 in the morning. It's not really all that, that big of a deal really. But like I say, like you can stay at a lot, like a lot better places. So one bad experience that I did have with the hotel, and it's still kind of affecting me now, actually, believe it or not. And it's not anything that I don't know if it'd put me off staying there again, as such. But when I checked in, they gave me a towel and they gave me a bottle of water on arrival, and I just thought, oh, thank you, very nice. And I've never been to a hotel or like an accommodation place where they'll give you a bottle of water on your arrival. So I just thought, all right, this is quite nice, quite duty. So I thought, all right, I'll take this bottle of water with me. So I get back into my mate's car, and I'm like, look, they've given me a bottle of water on arrival, and we're just cruising along, heading back to his house, and I'm just slowly drinking this water, and then suddenly I start to feel unwell. Like I start getting a little bit of a like it's upset, like it's not agreed with my stomach, and I started to feel a little bit sick. Like there was no headache or anything, but I felt sick, and I just felt like whatever I was drinking, what wasn't good. And it was like my body was saying, no, don't drink this, and I just have this like real sick feeling inside of me. And and sort of like all through last night, sort of into today, until still sort of now, I've had this like almost like a little bit of just like a weird like sicky feeling, like a sicky taste in my mouth that I just can't seem to get rid of. And it like it's got better than it was, but it was like last night it just wasn't. And it really, like, I didn't even feel like I wanted to eat any tea last night at first. It was like proper, just not, I didn't feel too good from it. I just thought, you know what, like this water's not done me any, it's not done me any good at all. Which was just that, it was a really bizarre feeling, because it was just a bottle of water, and the water wasn't particularly cold. Like I don't think it had really been sat in a fridge, so I don't really know too much about what, why they give you it, or if there was a, if it, I mean, can they go out of date? Can bottles of water go off? I don't know. And I'm not a mega massive water drinker. Like I normally only drink it if there's nothing else to drink, or sometimes if I'm at like an event and it's cheaper to get a bottle of water than it is to get like a glass of Coke or something, then I'll opt for the bottle of water. And sometimes you go to some nightclubs and you can get like tap water for free, and they won't charge you anything for it. Whereas some places they'll charge you like over the odds just for a little bottle of water, and it's crazy. So I decided that I'm not going to drink that anymore. So we went back to my friend's house, and we had a jam. We had a mix and we had a jam. I went through some tunes that I was possibly going to play at the event, and my good friend luckily had a spare USB stick as well. So I did some analyzing on his laptop, and he gave me a second stick to borrow for the event, just in case I needed one, because he knows himself, playing at that club, that sometimes that they're not always linked. So he helped me out, and he said, look, borrow this USB stick, and blah blah blah. So that was really nice of him. So that sorted it out. And because he was on like, like Pioneer stuff as well, like we could put the sticks into his decks, and we could like check that everything works. So the stick I'd analysed at home, that all worked fine, and loaded the decks. And his decks were linked as well. So everything worked fine. So I sort of knew from that point. So we got a little bit of a mix, got like a little bit of a mix on, and we like I say, I started off going through some of these bounce tunes, and then sort of moved on, and we played a bit of hardcore, and then I think his daughter's boyfriend, he's just getting into DJing, and he's spinning some drum and bass. So we had a little bit of a drum and bass session, and I put the mic on, and we just had a little bit of a laugh. And he had a couple of his mates round, and We just had a little bit, yeah, put the decks on, and we just had a little bit of a laugh before the event, and it was just a nice little, like it really just sort of like changed the vibe of the day, because like otherwise I would have just like sat in the hotel room and probably just like thought to myself like, like just sort of feeling a bit bored until the event, unless I'd like decided to go and venture anywhere, to have anything to eat or something. So we had a little bit of a jam at his, and it just made all the goodness of it really. And then my mate decided that he was going to come to the event. So out of the goodness of his heart, he arranged an Uber for us, and because he'd had a couple of beers by this point, so he was obviously over the limit to drive. So he ordered us an Uber to take us into town, and he ordered one in good time, so like I'd get there and not miss the set. And we actually got into town a little bit early, so we went round to another boozer. Real nice place actually. It was a real proper like an old man's drinking pub. And I do actually like them kind of pubs where you go into them and they're just quiet. They don't get absolutely rammed, but there's just a few people and they're sat in there having a conversation, and there's some real nice sort of like quiet music on in the background, just some like real nice jazz piano music, or just like a real chilled out vibe going on. And you've just got people just sat there talking, and it really reminded me of a pub called the Bowling Green in the Isle of Man, where I've been many a times. It's sadly shut down now, but that was I used to go there with my grandparents when we was in the Isle of Man, and it really sort of gave me the vibe of that place. It was just really nice and chilled out, and it's just somewhere like I could really picture, like if my nan and granddad was having a weekend away in Leicester or something, like they'd like they'd go to this pub for a couple of drinks on the night. It just had that real like warm, welcoming, chilled out vibe, and it was just a really nice little pub. So we had a drink there just to fill in a bit of time, and then the promoters said the club's open. I was obviously on the first set, so I said, well, they, said we're in the club, we're at the club, not the club's open. I'd be late for my set if it was. But no, they said they're in the club, so I said, all right, just finish these and we'll come round, and came round, and they let us in. And there was obviously just like there was obviously just sound checking, and obviously just getting things sort of like set up and ready. And then set on my ways, and went on the decks and started playing my set. Few people started arriving in. Didn't have the like busiest set, which I didn't expect. It was the first set. It was an event with no headliners, so it wasn't. I knew in my mind it was never going to get rammed. But to be honest, like it did really well. Like it did a lot better than I expected it was going to do. But sometimes just having these smaller nights that don't get rammed, and it's just like you and your mates and you're just having a good time. Sometimes can be better than having like a packed out rave. Like people will say, oh, look at it, it was a dead event. And sometimes the dead events where they're not full of just like random ravers, but there's genuine people in there supporting your brand, and it's people who and you're all just having a good time. And the nightclub's not a huge club in itself anyway. It's a real small place up there anyway. It doesn't hold many people, so you're never gonna fill it out with like the biggest of headliners. And it is, in some sense, it's like a room two for the downstairs club, but they do hire it. You can hire it separately as well, and it has its own outside door as well, where you can enter it without being in the downstairs area of the club. So obviously, it was just wasn't the busiest vibe. But it was just still really enjoyable for my set, and I really enjoyed smashing it up. So I went to begin with. I went with the set that I'd planned at home. Started playing a couple of tracks off there, and then I just sort of started dabbling, and I thought, no one's going to really care at this point if it's planned or if it's not planned. And so obviously I'd reanalyzed the whole main stick with like loads of bounce and everything that I could. So I had, plenty of tunes, hundreds of tracks. So I was just playing around. I just thought, right, what am I going to play here? So I just went and played some absolute stompers, and then I decided that, it's time, and I went into I went into like hard house and hard bounce. I thought, you know what? Because the guy who was coming on after me, he was playing a hard house set, so I thought if I start taking it a little bit harder towards the end and mixing up some of these harder tunes, it'll just sort of set the tone a little bit more, and sort of just sliding away from the cheesy bounce that I'd obviously started with. And I'd also road tested the exclusives that are coming to Excite Digital, which I'm absolutely I'm more excited for them now than ever, because they actually sounded really good in the nightclub. The played alive is just, it's something else. Like I've just really like so happy with how that tune has turned out. Like it's, for me, it's one of my favorite tunes that I've done, because I just felt, for me, like everything just sounded so right. Like I did Wifey and that was good, but when I did Wifey, there was a lot more like I don't know how to explain it, but like when I did Wifey, it was like a lot of the samples, like I got loads of samples for it. um I wasn't what I guess, like what I'm trying to say is like the melody and stuff in Wifey, that was like, it wasn't a MIDI. It was actually like where I chopped the melody out of something else. I'd actually chopped it out of the Georg Schmidt version of Wifey, and I'd sped it up to the hardcore speed. So it was a bit more in the Wifey. It was a bit more like just taking the Georg Schmidt version and just speeding his version up, and just adding a few bits to it. Whereas this one, it was like, doing this played alive, there was a lot more to it that I'd done. And obviously it just shows like where my production has improved in terms of like what I know compared to what I knew, if that makes sense. So it was like a really good vibe in that sense, that like I've been learning more and I've been doing more stuff. So I road tested the tunes. They sounded absolutely wicked. And then after my set, I just I was chilling at the event. I was MCing as well, and it was more just like grab the mic whenever you want kind of thing. MCs could like work with each other. So we worked with each other. My good friend Joe Dukins, who booked me for Bonanza, and I also won the competition for Maximum Overload versus Bonanza. He was emceeing at the event as well, so it was really nice to catch up with him. And when my stomach had actually finally started to settle down a bit, we actually ventured together, and we got a bite to eat. And I found like a little kebab shop where you could sit inside, and it was all right, but it wasn't the best. And to be fair, I paid like £8 for doner meat and chips, and the doner meat, it wasn't the nicest doner meat I'd had. Like it was actually quite crispy on the outside, like around the edges of the meat, and then it was a little bit spicy as well. It wasn't horrible. Like I've had far worse, but I've had like far better as well, and it was like a different doner meat to what I'd had before. It was like quite spicy and crispy. The chips were quite nice. The chips were actually belting, and the garlic mayo was obviously nice. And you get a drink with I got a drink with the meal as well, which was obviously which was obviously a nice thing. So I got a can of Pepsi. So we had some food while we witnessed a roadman having an argument with a guy outside of a boozer and sort of like trying to fight him. And he actually kicked a guy, and he did like this real solid kick. And then like it was sort of like it was sort of like moving away and walking away. And you know, like when you're angry and then you're trying to walk away, and then like the other person's like saying something to you, and it's like winding you up, so you keep turning round to go back. That's kind of what was happening. And then I don't know if it was his girlfriend was like proper like embarrassed by him, and like like, stop all this shouting, and I can't believe you're acting like this. And in his mind he just wanted to go back and batter this person outside the pub. He was just, he was gunning for it. And then he went over to the box club, which is the club down below from where we were playing, and some of his other like roadmen mates were in the queue, and he's like, we've got a bit of a problem. And he was ready to go all Grove Street and get the homies together. you know, which was crazy. And then as was walking back as well, there was like a fat woman on the phone, and she was having an argument with, I don't know if it was a boyfriend on the phone, and she was on about something about broken hair. And I'm thinking like, Jesus Christ, like it's all going off in Leicester tonight. Absolutely crazy. And then we went back to the event after the food, and we just carried on, sort of emceeing, having a good time, raving, and just really enjoying the vibe. And then the event finished, so the event came to an end. And my good friend Joe Dukins said, "Listen, look, Noble, we'll walk with you and make sure you get to where you're staying. All right." It was only like it literally was about probably about 10 minutes away. It was like it was literally like when you actually when I actually walked it the next day, when I walked back towards town and I actually walked past the club, it was like literally you could walk it, like it really wasn't that far at all. um but like, obviously I was just very grateful that it obviously like offered to, like, yeah, I'll walk with you, sort of like, so walked with me like more or less, to my apartment, where I was staying, whatever you want to call it, guest house. And made sure that I got back all right, which was like, obviously, like a really nice thing to do. And yeah, I just, like I say, just was really nice that he offered to do that. And then I obviously went home, went into the guest house and got my head down, made a cup of tea, which the cup of tea was all right. I was a little bit curious with the water not being all that good, to like whether I should have a cup of tea or not. And then I got in, I checked the kettle, and there was some water in it, and I boiled it, and I made a brew. And then I sat there and I thought, do you know what? I probably should have like emptied the kettle and like just gave it some fresh water. So I was thinking like, Noble, like, what the hell are you doing? Like, I should have given it some fresh water, just in case. And then by that point, like, I was just ready for bed. I was absolutely shattered. I'd got into my pajamas and all the rest of it. As you do. And then I just sort of thought, like, do you know what? I can't be arsed now. So I made the brew anyway and drank the brew. Um, drank the brew, and everything, seemed to taste all right. I didn't drink it all, but I had like a couple of sips, and then sort of like really got my head down, to be honest. And then I woke up late. I was supposed to check out at 10. I woke up at 11. So I woke up late, and I'm thinking like, I ain't even got time to have a brew this morning, to make a fresh brew. I haven't really got time to like chill or anything. I'm thinking like, I'm late, like, oh God, they're gonna, they've probably been knocking on the room and I ain't heard it, and oh God. So there's me like rushing around and getting dressed and making sure I've like packed everything, as you do, and just absolutely like going for it. Going downstairs thinking he's gonna say like, you've checked out, you're checking out late. You're supposed to check out at 10. Give me a little bit of a lecture or something for him just to be like real chilled out. Like, did you have a nice day? Was everything all right for you? Have a safe journey back, and general conversation as you do. And there's me thinking like I could have chilled out and had a brew, and I'm rushing around thinking, oh God, I'm meant to be out, and I'm thinking I could have checked out at 3 in the afternoon if I'd really wanted to, couldn't I? So I just felt like, oh, I could have actually just had a brew, which was obviously like crazy. But yeah, it was real nice. Real polite staff. So like I think despite the water, like I'd stay there again. Like I probably just wouldn't like drink the water. And I think like again like just if you're gonna just go somewhere like and you just need to get your head down and you aren't really bothered about like where like it being 5 star, first class hotel. Just like I say, for the sake of checking in, going out, coming in at like 5 in the morning, and then checking out at 10 in the morning, to the point where you're not really living in the hotel as such. You just it's more just a place to, if anything, like to keep your belongings. Like it's like a storage unit, really. And then just somewhere to literally get your head down after an event, more as a place where you need it to be like the best. I mean, obviously if there was like loads of issues wrong with it, like I don't know, like if the door didn't lock or the lights didn't work, or or for whatever reason there was like, because I know like I stayed in a haven once, and there was actually shit under the bed, which if there was anything like that, like obviously then I'd complain and I'd say, look, this isn't on. I want a different room, or I demand that you pay to put me in somewhere a bit more upmarket. But when you're paying like, well, it was on, like I say, it was only like 40 quid for me to stay over. Which the event covered that anyway. It was it was all right, just in that sense, for literally just getting your head down at night. And it did what I needed it to do in that sense. So I would stay there. I'd definitely stay there again in that sense. And then yes, I got up, and then I've just been exploring Leicester today, having food, having drinks, and just like I say, I went to Pepe's at dinner time, because I thought like I don't go to Pepe's that often, and I knew there was one in Leicester somewhere, so went and hunted for this Pepe's. I had the Pepe's. I enjoyed it. It was very nice. My stomach was still feeling a little bit queasy from that water for some reason, so I was a little bit like, oh, I don't know. And I was quickly a bit bloated, and I was still a bit full from that doner meat as well. But I thought I'd better have some. So I had a chicken burger, ate it all like a chicken steak burger, chips, mozzarella stick, and a drink. Very nice. I enjoyed it. It was a really nice vibe. It was a really nice bit of food in that sense. And then I was just sort of exploring and walking around Leicester, because for whatever reason I couldn't book the train. So I could only book a train that was like setting off to come back home at like 7:15. For some reason, like it wouldn't let me. It wouldn't let me do that, like come any earlier. So like I had like a whole sort of like day in Leicester, sort of exploring and looking round things. And I just want to say, as far as Leicester goes, it is probably one of the most like enjoyable places that I've actually like ever looked round, like in as far as like for like shopping goes. And there was like the food places were unreal. Like there was some really nice food places, to the point where I actually kind of regretted going to Pepe's, because I thought, you know what, like, like we go to like different towns and we get familiar with like going to the places we know, so it's very easy to walk into a McDonald's and have something like from McDonald's that you always get, and you're always, you enjoy it at least, or how much it costs, for example. But sometimes like towns can have like really, really like nice places, and it's nice sometimes like just to sort of go all out and go and try somewhere a bit different. And there was some really nice like chicken places where you could sit inside. There was some real nice burger places and pizza places where you could sit inside. However, I did stop at McDonald's. That was, however, just to have a cup of tea. So I had a cup of tea like mid-afternoon, because it's only like, it's like 99p there or something for a cup of tea. And you go into some of these coffee places and they charge you like nearly £3, to have a cup of tea with a teapot in a saucer. And I just thought, I just felt thirsty. And the water, just, I felt like I wanted to get rid of that water taste as well still. So I just thought, I'll find somewhere, sit down and have a cup of tea. And then I came across the Macca's, so I sat inside the Macca's and had a cup of tea. It was a really big Macca's. It was a really weird one as well, really big, weird, like, and part of it was inside of a shopping centre, which I didn't realise. I'd actually entered the McDonald's from the outside street. And then I was inside the Macca's and I was looking for a table, and I found this like whole other area of McDonald's with more seats. And then there was like some doors that literally took you into this like little like precinct shopping centre, which was really nice. So when I finished my pot of my cup of tea, I decided that I was going to go and have a little look around in this little shopping area, and it looked really nice. It was really good. It just had like the usual shops in them, like there was clothing shops, and there was a CEX inside of it. It was a really small one as well, and then there was just like some other bits and bobs. There was a B&M in there as well, and there was it a TK Maxx, or no? That was at the other shopping centre, I think. But there was a Waterstones bookshop, and there was a free, like a shop where you can get like bath bombs. I think it's called Lush or something like that. We have one in Hull, and then there was some like other bits and bobs as well. And it was just, it was an average shopping centre, but it was nice. Nice to explore. I was feeling a bit tired and done in, so I actually sat down in some seats in there as well. I just didn't really feel it, to be honest. I was starting to just feel a little bit tired, so I like I say, I sat and just had just a bit of a breather really, and then I carried on venturing, found another shopping centre which was a little bit bigger, and it had like a gadget shop inside of it. It had a TK Maxx, and it had a cafe upstairs that I thought I might go there and have another drink, but it had actually closed down. And there's some like adventure thing opening there instead, so I was a little bit sort of like gutted in that sense. And then yeah, I just sort of kept sort of exploring, and then I thought, you know what, I've done like everything I actually really want to do. And went back to the train station, even though I was like a good sort of like 3 hours before my train. I thought, I've done everything I need to do. At least I can like just go and sit and chill at the station in the waiting room. I can, browse my phone. I can watch some videos and stuff to pass the time. So I did. I obviously, just browsed the phone for a bit. Watched trains come and go, watched the world come and go in that sense. And then I started to get a little bit peckish, and I thought, I've got sort of like a couple of hours sort of before the train, so I thought, let's go and venture and just get something for tea. So I went to this place called Awesome Chips, and it was a place that was knocking out delicious like loaded fries. So they make these chips, and it's like homemade chips. So like they use their own potatoes, and they like grow their own potatoes, and they make these like homemade chips, and then they do like all these different like loaded fries dishes. So there's like hot dog fries and pizza fries and foot long fries, and they do like waffle fries, and then there was like these it was almost like a big long stick, and they put like homemade crisps on them, and it just looked like really nice. Like, there was literally like everything on that menu was like something like that I would have had, like something that I would have wanted, if that makes sense. And it was really nice, like proper, looked really nice. But I decided that I'd have the pizza fries with barbecue sauce. Um, and then I ordered that, and I was looking at like some of the other like the foot long fries, and I was looking at like someone had got like the homemade crisps on the stick, and I thought, do you know what, like I could eat them as well. Like it looks so nice. So I had mine anyway, and it was absolutely belting. It was really nice. The homemade chips were just on another level, and the barbecue sauce with them, and sort of like the pizza topping on top of them just really made it. So that was kind of like why I was saying about like, going and trying something different, like, because we don't have anything like that in Hull. It's a real shame. There was some real proper unique like food places in Leicester. Like we need something like that, where we need more food places where it's a little bit different, where you can literally go, like if we had something like that in Hull, like that was amazing. Like what they was doing, it was actually like really good. Like the whole Leicester like city centre was just so much better than Hull. Like it felt like everywhere there was always something new to see, and there was always something like going on and happening, and it was just a real like busy and lively like city centre. Whereas like Hull, it's got quite dead. Like like you go into Princess Quay, for example, and half the shops are shut down, and the ones that are open are nothing to really scream about. And the food places, well, I think there's a Pizza Express in there, there's a cake shop, and I literally think that is about it. And then our other shopping centre, the Prospect Centre, there was like an upstairs food court, and I think there was a Burger King in there, and I think there was like something else up there as well. Maybe like a coffee shop or something. And then again, I think that was it. And then you go into our St Stephen's, and you go upstairs, and there's literally like a Burger King, a Greg's, there's a Nando's, there's there was another place as well, and I forget the name of it. A wok place for noodles, and there's another place as well where you could like literally, not Nando's, but it was like where you could just get like sort of like like pizzas and stuff like that as well. And yeah, RT, have it, yes. So our town's like really dead for shops, and then you go somewhere like Leicester, and like I say, it was just so lively, and the food places were definitely interesting me the most. So um, yeah, but that was my that was my experience in Leicester, and I've not been back that long. I've probably been back about an hour and a half now or something like that. I got into Hull at like something like 10 to 10, or like quarter to 10 or something like that, and then I just walked home, and literally it didn't take me that long to walk home, and obviously I've been here ever since. And um, like I say, just been a really enjoyable weekend. It's been so good to like spend it with friends, and to have a laugh with friends, and like I say, big up to Rich, man. Buying me like my glasses of Coke, and paying for the Uber to take us to the club, and lending me that spare USB stick, and having a jam at his house. That was obviously, and it was all just enjoyable, and I was very grateful. And then obviously me other friend MC Dukins for sort of like making sure I got back to my hotel and all that all right, which was obviously just really nice of him to do. And it just shows that there's some really nice people among the rave scene, and it's really nice to, you know, I do this music stuff, and then I've got like all these friends, and you know, you go to these different towns and you don't feel like you're on your own. You know, you go there and then suddenly, you know, you're surrounded in a place with your friends, and it's really good. So um have you went sober? Yeah, so I've gone sober. So I don't know the exact calculations, but when I sort of had a little bit of a think and a look back, I think if my coordinations are like correct, I think like I've been sober around about 8 months. So I put a post up about it about maybe week and a half ago, 2 weeks, and yeah, I've been sober about eight months. So when I think back, the last time I can physically remember having a drink, there was a stomping in Hull, and it was about November time, and it was for my mate Sniper's birthday, and they booked Club Filler and MC Storm, and that is the last time that I remember having a drink. Like I know, like and when I was at that event as well, I did like I remember it like very well, and like I didn't get wasted because I know by that point I'd been cutting down on the alcohol, so I know by that point that like I wasn't going on all the shots like I used to do. So I think I'd had a couple of beers, and I was kind of like, oh, I shouldn't really, but I'm just having a couple kind of thing. Um, so yeah, nothing at all. No, so nothing. So like I say, I think that stomping, that's the last time that I physically remember like having a drink. But I'm not saying that like I know I remember on Christmas Day I got asked you know like have a drink, it's Christmas Day. And I remember saying like no I'm not, you know, I'm not drinking anymore. But I don't know if like sort of just leading up to Christmas, like if I'd maybe just had like one beer or something like that. But I can't remember, but that I'm aware of. Um, what I'm aware of, I've not touched a drop. Now we fast forward to this year, and I kind of had a drop of alcohol, but I kind of didn't at the same time. It's a real tough one because I don't really know what category to put it in. But basically, a couple of months ago, I was staying over at my grandparents, and I developed a really bad toothache in this side of the mouth. It was the worst I'd ever had it. And my nan said if you swig some whiskey, so like don't swallow it, just like put it in your mouth and swig it. Like sometimes like the whiskey can like ease off the toothache. So you know, I swigged it, didn't swallow it, I just swigged it. So I suppose I got the taste of it. If anything, I maybe swallowed like a real tiny little bit. And then I obviously spat it out into the sink, and it wasn't easing the toothache at all. um, but yeah, so what made me stop? There was a there was a few reasons that made me stop. There was a few reasons. One of them I'm not going to go into on the stream because it's a little bit more complicated than something that I want to mention on the stream. But one of the main reasons was I just felt like you know my whole like life, my path and career, it's all about the music. And my good friend the layman, he doesn't drink, he's not touched alcohol for a good few years. And he said like he taught me some like told me some like really valid points that kind of like the more I thought about them, like they kind of like stuck within my brain. And it was kind of just like it was about like promoters that run events, and like how they look and how they see you, because you know you can be a DJ and you can turn up to an event as a raver, And if that promoter knows you're a DJ, he's gonna watch how you behave. He's gonna look at how you are. And he's gonna obviously, because you never know, that they're always in the back of their mind, like checking somebody out, thinking, it could be a possible person to book in the future. Um, and the thing with me as well is I was going to a lot of events with the layman, and I'd get in for free. Sometimes he'd have a plus one, so I'd get in the event for free. And then sometimes certain events, the promoters would actually give me like a VIP backstage wristband. So I'd very was very, very lucky that I'd sometimes get that opportunity, to go backstage. And I was just thinking to myself, like, they're gonna look at everything and the way I am and the way the way I act. And I just thought, if I'm getting absolutely hammered, and then I'm sitting, and you've got to bear in mind as well, like this VIP room, some of the biggest DJs in the game, in our music scene, or come into this back room. So like Scott Brown, even Darren Styles has been in that room. Not while I have, but big names go in that room, and everything you're doing in that room, they're gonna see it. And as I'm sure Rob will remember, like when I used to get on them Jaegers, and I used to do the Instagram lives, and I used to down all the shots, and I used to neck everything. Obviously, it was, I'd get into a bit of a state, and I'd be waffling, and and I bit someone's nose once, at a stomping event, getting absolutely hammered, and then you don't remember coming home. And I just thought, it doesn't give myself a good image. And then I'd missed a couple of sets as well because I'd got too drunk, and I just thought, like, this is not doing me no good. And then I stopped drinking, like I cut down on the drinking. My friend said, look, you'll realize instantly, like when you stop drinking, like that, like drinking puts blocks in your life, and it puts like bad spirits in your body. And I've never been a big like believer in like all these like, oh, bad spirits, and good luck and bad luck, and karma. And like I've really changed in life. And it's kind of like, I can't explain it to you. But like I've seen stuff that like, and witnessed things that I never thought I'd witness. And like, you don't ever imagine that you'd witness these things. And if you tell people that you've witnessed them, like, they won't believe you. Like, that's how literally like crazy it is. But I guess like one way to describe it is like predictions, but like predictions like always being right. So like someone saying like this is gonna happen, and then like it actually happens, and not just like a one-off where like, they've just got lucky and got it right. Where they've like predicted a ton of stuff, where they've said stuff like maybe like a year and a half, 2 years ago, and said like, this is gonna happen, or this going forward, and you don't think anything of it. And then all of a sudden, like a year and a half, 2 years later, what that person has said is happening. And I know like it sounds really mad and weird, and it sounds like, just like a make believe story, but like I've witnessed and I've seen some like really mad stuff. So when my friend said like, like it blocks, like alcohol, it blocks good things from happening in your life, and you can't progress and you can't move on, with drink in your body, so I thought, all right, like, and he's kind of right now, and I wanted to give myself a good image for the music anyway. So I started cutting down, and I eventually stopped, and then suddenly I saw all these good things started coming. So my bookings started increasing massively. So I started getting like a load more bookings to obviously what I was getting before. Uh, you know, Loads of good things were just happening through not drinking. I was getting the options more like to to go in the back rooms and the VIP rooms, and I was just getting more good things just genuinely happening for me, and like life changing, and also like it was almost like I could see the bad things in life, like it was almost like I'd stepped out of a bad circle, and then looked into the circle from the outside and realized how bad the circle actually was, and realized how, at the time when you're having a laugh and you're drinking with everybody, how you think like, this is life and this is all good, and you've got these amazing friends, and they all want to party and sesh with you, but at the end of the day, they might want to party and sesh with you, but they're not there for you like a proper friend, and they're not with you at the real times when it matters. Yeah, when they're having a little party at their house, yeah, come down, Noble, and jump on the decks. But then when when you're doing well and you're achieving and you're playing these many bookings, they aren't there like, I'll drive you down, or I'll come down and see you play, or for whatever reason, or or we'll make tunes together, and you soon start to see it, like, people don't like you doing well, and then when you sort of become like sort of out of that circle and out of that clique, that's when you then sort of like, oh, people are jealous because you've moved up, and then they're like, oh, they stop including you, and then you stop becoming part of that clique, which is quite a good, like a good thing, because you want to be out of it. But you just sort of realize who, like, when you were sort of in the clique, the people who you thought like these are your solid friends and these are your solid pals, like you really start to realize like how they're actually not. Like, yeah, they might be your friends, but they're not like proper, like the proper true friends. So, so everything just kind of led to where it's led now. And now I'm just so glad that I don't drink, and I witnessed like so many good things, and I remember all the events that I play at because I'm not getting hammered, and I remember like my sets, and I actually get to play them. But anyway, we are wittering on. We are wittering on about Rob's question, but I could go on about it for ages. And like I say, there was another reason why I stopped drinking as well, and it was something that one side sort of like started to cut down on the drinking. It was sort of something when I started thinking. I started to sort of like start thinking about things, and something from back when I was drinking, something to me just didn't add up, and it really sits uneasy with me, and it's a real tough one. Like, I don't want to get in like fully into it, because like I could just like literally be I could just literally be like I don't know what the word is, but like I could literally be like completely wrong about the whole situation. But it's kind of like that never like that never knowing. And part of me kind of thinks that something happened that shouldn't have happened, like something that's not right happened. But it's one of those like I can't go back and prove it. It's like my word against somebody else's word, so I can't prove like exactly that what I think happened is what I think happened. So I kind of like, I've just kind of like, in some sense, I've kind of just like learned to forget about it, because I kind of don't, like, I just think like, like I could be wrong, because like, but I was getting, quite badly drunk, in them situations and in them times. But all I am gonna say is I did something once when I was drunk, or well, something happened once when I was drunk, it's a real hard one to explain, which is why I'm not going to fully go into it. But so I did or something happened when I was drunk, and the next day it was like, oh yeah, you this happened, you did this when you got drunk. And at the time I just thought, oh God, as if I'd done something like that, like as if like I can't believe I've done something like that. And anyway, cutting the story short, when I started to like start cutting down on the drink and started to step outside of this circle, I started to think, well, hang on a minute, like, did I actually do this? Because it doesn't feel like something I would normally do. I've never done it before, and I'd never done it again since. And after it had happened, I'd still like I'd carried on drinking for quite a while. This was quite a while before I'd managed. This is actually a good, probably something like, this is probably something like 2, nearly 3 years ago now when this happened, at a house party. And I'm just, the more I was looking back and sort of thinking about it, the more in my mind, like, it doesn't sit right, because like, it just doesn't feel like something that I'd normally do. So I ain't gonna go too much into detail, because if I started like talking about it and coming out about it, like, it could just cause a whole load of drama for nothing. I could be wrong. Like, I could have just got too drunk and actually just done this daft thing. Because it's quite a daft thing. Like, if it's something that I've done, like, it's just a daft thing and it's not like a big of a deal. But it's kind of like, oh, why, why, like, a little bit embarrassing, but like, oh, why did I do it? But like, if I hadn't done it, then it does open up a little bit of a bigger story, and there's a little bit more of like a little bit more of a case to it. And essentially, it's just a little bit weird as well. Like, if I haven't done it, it's a little bit weird. That's what I'm gonna say. But like I say, it could cause a whole load of like drama if I even like just spoke out about it. And like I say, I can't prove anything. But something just doesn't feel right. And I know, like, they do say, like, if something doesn't feel right, like, speak out and talk. But like, I could essentially like ruin someone's life for nothing, or I could just end up ruining my own life because no one would believe me. And but I think, maybe from by the way that I'm talking, you might get the slight hint of like what I'm jiggling on at. But there we go. So, but yeah, that is to answer your question, Rob. That they're like the reasons why I gave up on the drink. And obviously I no longer do it. And I witness all the raves, I witness all the sets, I enjoy all the music. I don't wake up the next day feeling like I've been hit by a lorry. I don't have headaches and hangovers anymore, which is an amazing thing. Like, I got up today as fresh as a day. Well, I felt tired, but I was as fresh as a daisy, and went and explored Leicester without sort of feeling absolutely rubbish. So that's been my weekend in Leicester. So next week we're in Hull for the summer courtyard party. It's gonna go off. The tickets have been flying out that I'm aware of, and there's been really good sort of like talk about this event, and there's been some really good promotion. So I'm playing in the Hard Files room. I've got an absolutely stomping set planned for it. Well, I say kind of planned. I've got to go over it, and I've got to change quite a lot of things around, and got to add quite a few bits and bobs to it, which is what I'm going to obviously be working on this week. And I'm going to also have to sort this like USB stick corruption issue, and I'm going to have to buy another USB stick as well, which is not something I really wanted to be doing. But I think I've just got a massive issue with my music, and I think I've lost a fair bit of it as well. So I'm going to have to try and see if there's any way I can like salvage some of it. But we'll see how it goes in that sense. So yeah, so make sure to like, make sure to comment, make sure to share. We've actually been streaming over an hour. I think this is one of the longest ones. I think I probably got over an hour before, but this is like the longest one we've done for a while. So like, comment, share. Peace out, people.